Hi everyone, it's Gayatri Devi once again, and making another video today. Sometimes when I feel like I get this all set up, I start one video and then I want to do the next one. So I was inspired to share a little bit about how to read someone's energy. And I'll share a little bit of a background before getting into the tips. And so if you want to hear the story, you can listen to the beginning, and then I'll put a link underneath for the timing, so if you just want to jump into the tips, you can do that. But I think it's kind of fun to sometimes hear a little bit of background behind it. But I have to give credit to my first business partner. We owned a yoga studio together, and we both came from a background of Korean energy training and martial arts. It was a Korean form of yoga, but it was founded by a martial artist. And so there was a lot of energetic and like qigong type work that was part of the training. And I remember when we opened the yoga studio, my business partner had more experience, a lot of experience with healing people. And so he would start talking to people, and I asked him, how do you know like what they're suitable for, what type of healing they need, what their issues are? And he said, oh, you just read their energy. And that was the first time I heard that you could do that. And I was like, what, just read their energy? He says, yeah. And so he had developed, again, his techniques and awareness, and I think that it kind of sparked something for me, and since then I've been able to go a lot further with that. And I want to say that it's also true of every spiritual tradition. They have the masters when they let me say that again. And so these are a few universal tips that you can use, regardless of your background or practices, if you're spiritual, not spiritual, but they're just helpful to understand people a little bit more. And I will say, however, that the masters of all different traditions, whether they're master martial artists, whether they're saints, whether they're gurus or leaders of religions, they were able to fully learn and master themselves and master their energies, and therefore they're able to understand and heal and transform the energies of others. So from the shamanic perspective, a master shaman is someone who knows energy, knows the forces of light and dark, knows the mixed packages that when people show up and they have some form of suffering going on, some form of illness. And we all do, actually. We all have these karmas and layers to so many different infinite levels until we're completely enlightened. So until we're there, we're also working through our stuff. And the more we know, though, and the more we heal, then the brighter we can shine and the more we can help others. So may this be helpful to you, and I'll get right into the 5 ways that you can read someone's energy. All right, so the first one is actually just their overall appearance and what you can observe by looking at them. And now I should say there's the phrase, right, you don't judge a book by its cover, but I feel that if you're not going through, you shouldn't go through a judgmental lens, like, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong, that type of thing. But just be an open observer as to what you see. For example, if they have circles under their eyes, or their cheeks are very drawn, or they're pulling this way. Sometimes you can see people that are kind of hunched over because they carry a feeling of a burden or something that's actually literally on their back. And those are their forces, their energies that the person is perceiving in their mind that there's a pressure on them and that they cannot actually sit up and stand straight. So on some level, again, by just looking at their appearance, you can see what's going on in their mind and kind of in their subconscious, and what they're carrying around. So as someone that is, if you're doing healing work or you're trying to help them, the simplest is just send them love, but giving that person, let's say, maybe more confidence or saying encouraging things to them. Well, yes, you can do it. Or, oh, that's going to pass. It's not forever. So maybe there's a perceived problem or they don't feel like they're good enough. But if they hear maybe words of encouragement or love, or they see that maybe there's a different way of looking at it, or in the grand scheme of things, it's not so bad, then they actually might be able to hear you, lift that programming, and then actually shed that energetic form, let's say that demon or baggage programming, whatever you want to call it. So that's an example of someone's appearance. So again, looking at their face, looking at their skin, and I do this also on myself, so it's okay to do it on yourself to see how your condition is. For example, is your skin breaking out? Are there circles under your eyes? Is it dry? Maybe your balance of fluids is off. Maybe you need more fruit or more salt or more sleep or something. It's okay to do that because we are dynamic beings and nothing is the same. Another shamanic law, I don't know if anyone's told me this, but I'm just saying it, is that every moment is unique and nothing is to be taken for granted. So just because yesterday your shoulder didn't hurt doesn't mean it might not hurt today. And so if your shoulder hurts, and maybe there's some inflammation, maybe you had too many kiwis, I don't know. But I feel, and what I've experienced and seen from my teacher, is that she's always perceiving on such a subtle level, always fine-tuning what is the medicine that needs to be at hand? What does that person need from me? What words? Are they more of a sharp word or a soft word or a laughter? And that applies, again, to all aspects of life. And we can start, since we're talking in this video about appearance, starting with the body. Also, of course, just general clothing, appearance, color. I could go on and on. I did for a bit of wardrobe styling work for a while. There's a whole thing about color and energy too, but generally speaking, again, this happens all the time, let's say for teenagers, very sensitive people, and when they start, if they are too sensitive or too open, and someone becomes, again, very depressed and they take on a lot of negative energies, they start dressing in black. Whereas someone else who is more joyful and happy generally would choose to have brighter colors, more pleasant colors that flatter their skin tone, make them look vibrant and healthy, that type of thing. All right, enough on general appearance. Again, using this for your own healing work and for the healing and upliftment of others, not judging. So number 2 is the voice. So our voice carries the tones of the energies within us. That is our spirit guides, our angels, archangels, divine protectors, the tensions, and the openings that we have achieved through our life so far. So you may notice that when someone is feeling that they're under pressure or more anxious, their tone of voice changes. They also, well, for example, I have some constriction in my lungs, so sometimes I'm wheezing a little bit right now. But other people may have a more pleasing voice. Other people may have a very high voice because they feel like they have to somehow be tense. There's like a tension there. And some people, you might just notice there are these tones in their voice that make them unpleasant or irritating to listen to. And again, those tones are just energies there that are kind of digging into their consciousness. So you can send them away, or if you notice that in yourself, you can also listen to your own voice. And like you can make a recording and then listen and say, and sometimes you might say, I didn't know that I sounded a little uptight or a little wound about that, or it's coming across a little nasally. And generally, the more relaxed you are, the deeper your voice is, the more breath you're able to get, and then you have this nice kind of powerful round tone to your voice that is generally pleasing. So listening to people's voices, you can tell a lot also about them and their state. 3. Third is observing for tics or nervous habits. These are so hard. I feel like they're very hard for people to catch, and we have, they easily slip in. They're these like little addictions of pulling or picking or wincing or turning. I remember seeing there was a person who would raise his eyebrows as he would talk, and I don't think he realized that he would do it, but go like that. And I just so if you want to again kind of be more conscious, take a look at if there are any of those tics or habits that people may have. And if you're doing healing work, you can address those. You can either choose to say something about it or use your energetic tools, your spiritual tools, your shamanic tools, and cast out the energies that are creating these layers of bundled tension, layers of tightness. And so where there is tightness, there's darkness and therefore not light. So that could be that energy that is used and trapped into creating these type of tics can be released and healed and then moved into an expanded state where someone is more peaceful, relaxed, and more open to receive blessings and healing and have a better life. So that's literally how when someone is receiving the healing and their soul is opening up, their energetic field is opening up, their reality starts to change because the vibration they're emanating is changing, and where there were literally energetic blockages, vibrational blockages it's like dissonance. You're trying to play an orchestra and there's dissonance happening. If you change that, then there's harmony, and then think of the collective harmony and the power of that wave. And again, what that person is able to receive, what they're able to manifest because their energy is harmonized and aligned. So very helpful to observe. 4, this also goes a little bit with the previous tip, and that is someone's reactions. And this one is a study in people for sure, but sometimes people will use, we all have our habits of speaking, of course, but if someone, I know someone, for example, that would say, when they start to stop listening, their voice tone changes. They'll go, uh-huh, 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 mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then you can just tell, they tuned out. And I don't think they realize that they're doing it, but it's very obvious to me as a speaker that they're not listening. And they're like just going on the high level and not actually relating with they're not being present. So I'll record this one again. All right, number 4. This one is an interesting study in character. This is looking at people's reactions as you interact with them. And we all have, or I'll say, we there's so much programming that goes into us through society and through our life experiences. I feel it's challenging to kind of be completely clear of it, but you may notice that some people have these reactions that come up in certain circumstances. So I'll give a few examples. One is a very common of like an overwhelm type demon. And so someone, let's say they take on, or they say yes to things, and then they're going, but then all of a sudden they feel like everything's happening at once, and they're like, they just kind of freeze, and they feel like it's like there's way too much going on. They can't handle it. And it's their programming, their reaction that's coming into the situation, whereas someone else that doesn't have that type of programming, maybe they have to host a breakfast, but they're not going to get all stressed about it and be like, oh, what's going on? This is so much for me. I can't handle it. Another example is that someone I knew, I would be talking to them, and then at some point when they would start going, and like their voice changed, their eyes glazed over, and they just disconnected. Like they went boom, like superficial, like, okay, yeah, And the funny thing is, I don't think they were really aware of it, but it was obvious to me that they stopped listening and stopped being that present, heart-connected person. And they were, again, going like superficial, and they thought that was okay, and maybe that no one noticed that it was happening. And so these things, if you want to learn more about yourself, you can ask your friends what you do. Because I feel that, again, all of us, we think we're behaving a certain way, and then people outside, they can see right through what these kind of programming things that we put up. And what I also wish to emphasize about this, the reactions, is that sometimes people will be very fine or very nice or very pleasant, but then there's some things that set them off. Like you hit something that they have an issue with. Like money might be an issue. Like sometimes I've had people that are, let's say a household contractor, and they're super nice and really laid back, and then I start talking about like what they're getting paid, and they're like, and then you feel like, okay, wait, there's something there, that there's like they have something that's coming up. So if you're, again, looking to learn more about people and what their issues are, how they are perceiving, and the twisting the energy, reactions, and of course the more interaction you have with them, the better. And then, excuse me, fifth is just your overall feeling with the person. So this probably doesn't even need to be said, but you can kind of get a feeling, a vibe. And when it's a good vibe, you feel peaceful, you feel calm, you feel you might want to speak with them more. If not, then there just may not be that connection. And I found that over time, they're just people that we resonate with and people that we don't. And it's perfectly fine. So it's good to surround yourself with people that you resonate with, people who are positive, people who are uplifting, people who are bringing you up and supporting you and helping you go for your goals, and not those that bring you down. If you're a healer, well, we're all healers. We're all meant to be healers. So if you're working with people, actually, I don't know, this should probably be on another video. Make sure to cleanse yourself, clear yourself every day, because energies are contagious. And for those people who are going to be your team to do great things, I was told this recently by Peace Mother, It's wise to pick people who are at your level or higher. So don't detract from yourself. Don't put yourself down. Don't feel like you have to be in a relationship or in a friendship or in a job or in something that's pulling you down. If you've done your work, if you've cleared your garden, so to speak, and you're ready to move on, if you didn't break it, you don't have to fix it. You can always work remotely, and you deserve the best. So pick your team wisely. Pick your spirit team, pick your healing team, pick your friends very wisely. And lastly, I know I said 5 tips, but this is 6. When you're working with people, this is kind of the life situation of hard knocks. Sometimes you just have to have a lot of experiences with them. When you try to read someone's energy, you can get some things from a picture. You can get some things when you're starting to know them. This also applies to dating, by the way. So you're going to get certain things, but when the times get tough, you really want to have strong people in your corner. And sometimes you don't, unfortunately, sometimes the way the universe sets it up is that we aren't able to see everything right away. So it's good to really try to keep a very open mind and a detached mind, and like write things down if you need to, especially in the beginning, because you don't want those little things to interfere with your mission and your plan. If you have big things to do, big things to achieve, let's say there's someone that they seem really nice and you might go into business with them, but you'd rather find out if they're a liar or if they have a huge amount of debt or people chasing them for unpaid money. Like, you'd rather find out about those dark secrets earlier than later and save yourself the suffering and the trouble. So if these tips can be helpful to just keep your life on the fast track, that would be great. Let me know what you find helpful, and good luck. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.